I have a question. How many times have you gone through life and you feel like you're just going through a hailstorm of problems? You go through one thing and it seems like something else pops up and something else pops up and something else pops up. It just all is just happening at one time. You're overwhelmed, you feel helpless, and you don't know what to do. So you get into this very fragile mindset. And sometimes when we all get in that mindset, regardless of what the situations are, we wind up making decisions that can ruin us for the rest of our lives. And we have to be careful about that. When you're going through problems and situations where you require the help of other people, don't let pride get in your way. We have all been guilty of that in the past. Get some resources to help you through it. Because I'm going to tell you, if you try to solve problems that you're not familiar with and you're in a fragile state of mind, you are going to wind up making mistakes that will follow you for the rest of your life. And that's just the truth. That's just the truth. Let me tell you something. Pride is a funny thing. And depending on how you're programmed, we were all taught, independence is good. There's nothing wrong with being independent, but the thing is, part of being independent is understanding what your boundaries and your limitations are. That's part of being independent, believe it or not. Yes, there's nothing wrong with having aspirations, and there's nothing wrong with unlimited potential. But you have to deal with the right now and understand what you're dealing with right now. It's good to have a good spiritual relationship with your Creator, but you also have to work with what your Creator has given you right now. You can't sit here and talk about and act like and move like you're in a different space when you don't have the resources or access to the things at this time. You just can't. There's a process to everything. And unfortunately, we live in a society where nobody wants to go through the process. All they want is the product. And you've heard me mention before about that. Everything that's good to have requires a process, a procedure, so to speak. And the thing is, a lot of us don't get blessed with a lot of the things we want because we're not emotionally and mentally equipped to go through the process to get it. And that's the truth. It's one thing to talk about doing something, but are you willing to put in the work? Do you have the patience to deal with it? There are some people right now who are working jobs and know that they have no business there because they are not mentally and emotionally equipped to handle the job, but they're doing it because they have bills to pay. So what I say to you is, if you already know this is something that you're not built for and you have to pay the bills, pay your bills. But in your spare time, make an exit plan so you can go into a career or a field that is suitable for you. Either do that or go seek therapy for those emotional and mental issues so you can keep the job you have. Because what's going to wind up happening is problems. You might have that hailstorm of problems. And because you're not mentally and emotionally equipped to handle the job you already have in the good times, when the bad times roll around, it's going to be even worse and you might lose your job. Let me give you a case in point. I'm going to tell you about this. And this has happened more than one occasion in my life. So it's not directed to a particular job or a particular person at all. On more than one occasion, I've worked in positions where there would be those one or two people who just can't seem to draw the line between the personal life and the job life. It's like they can't control their emotions to the point where they just can't leave it out the door. And of course, many jobs that you go to, people tell you all the time, leave your personal business outside, come in, do the work we pay you to do and go home. It's not our problem, blah, blah, blah. A lot of jobs have, conduct rules and everything like that. But you always have those one or two that they're always coming in with their problems every single day. They're very pessimistic. They're miserable. They're to the point, they'll keep your attention for a little while. But after a while of listening to this person, you realize it's just drama filled. They have been drama filled. They were drama filled before they came into the job. They were drama filled in training. They were drama filled the day that they had the application in their hands. They were drama filled before they signed the W-4 form. They were full of drama because that's how they move. And a lot of these people don't have a lot of close people in their lives because they are drama. And the average person doesn't want to purposefully put themselves around people who are full of drama that's going to bring their spirit down. You know, a few people might enjoy it for entertainment, but after a while they're ready to go home to their little peace and quiet, to their little quiet world. They're not trying to deal with that. So they limit their association with these people. These people don't have a whole lot of friends. So these people come to work just about every single day, and they have an issue. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of these people are more than capable of doing the job, and if they set their mind to it, they probably do a better job than the rest of us. But because of their attitude and because of their high emotional state, they cannot do their job properly. These people more than likely have attendance problems, more than likely have problems focusing on the work. They wind up doing a bad job with work. Every time you turn around, they got to talk to the manager, or the manager needs to talk to them about some personal matter that's interfering with work. They're a nuisance to everyone around them because people who are working around them trying to mind their own business, they always have to chime in with some kind of personal problem. Some of them even go to the extent of trying to drag others into their personal problem. Some of them will try to befriend or associate co-workers so they could drag them into their drama to help get them out of their problem. And some people fall for it one or two times until they realize there's a pattern. These are the type of people we're talking about, and I'm sure if anybody who is employed or anybody who's running a business knows that person. And if you look at it, they probably haven't had a stable housing history. They haven't had a stable job history. They don't have any happy relationships at all. They got problems with every single person in their life. They got problems with their mate. They have problems with the landlord. They have problems with the bill collectors. They have problems with the children. Everybody around them is a problem, and they just going through so much. They are the ultimate victim because they're never wrong. And some of them even go to the extent where they talk about the trauma they had in their childhood, trying to lay the foundation for the reason why I don't understand why I can't get a break and da-da-da. Some of them have emotional outbursts in the middle of the workplace. They're just a pure distraction. And in the beginning, you start to feel sorry for them because we all know what it's like to have a hailstorm of problems hit us from time to time. And that's okay. That's a part of life. We all go through a period where we have a whole lot of stuff hit us at one time. That's okay. But if you have that person that stays in situations like that constantly, without any breaks, you got to look at that person. And be like, well, Deanna, maybe that person has had a hard life. Let me tell you something. A hard life may be something that you were probably born into, but a hard life is not something that you have to keep living. Let me say that again. A hard life might have been something that you were born into, but a hard life is not something that you have to keep living. That's a choice. And a lot of people, when they get a certain age, they realize that life could be better. They are exposed to a big world. You are exposed to a big world, and you come across different people from different backgrounds for different scenarios and different situations every single day. And they have shown you that life can be different. You see it every time you set foot outside that door. You're going to come across a situation or a person that is living a life that is totally different than yours. So if you want to sit there and blame every single negative thing in your life about how hard your life is, then you don't go outside. You don't watch the news. You don't engage with people. You don't do anything, because the minute you step out into the world, you're going to see that things are different than the life that you're living. And you mean to tell me that there's not going to be a single desire inside of you for things to be different? At some point in your life, you mean to tell me you're not going to want to learn anything? I know I'm being hard. There's some people, well, you got to understand. I'm from such and such area. So what? You know full and darn well such and such area of town is not the whole town. What has stopped you from going to the other side of town? What has stopped you from leaving the county? What has stopped you from leaving the state? What has stopped you from leaving the country? You've had the money to buy all the fancy stuff to put in your closet and the fancy stuff that's parked in your driveway, but you will not leave that raggedy neighborhood and that raggedy house, and you won't leave them raggedy people because the truth is you don't want to. And you're so afraid of what they're going to say if you decide that you want to do something different. It bothers you that much. So I look at it like this. If the opinions of a bunch of people who ain't trying to do nothing for themselves is going to affect you so much to the point where you don't want to do anything for yourself, stay your ass right where you are, because that's where you belong. And don't complain about it. Smile. Every time you get up in the morning, smile and be happy, because you haven't done anything to change it. If you're in a relationship, when you know for a fact that that partner hasn't meant you any good, has taken you through the ringer and then some, 13 years ago you got with this person, they're still acting the same way, going up and down, back and forth, emotional roller coaster, and you keep dealing with it, and you be upset, and then you love, and then you're together, and then you're not, then you got money, then you don't have any money, then it's everything. It's always extremes, extremes, extremes. And then you might get mad, and then you go, and then they'll charm their way back into your life, and it starts over and over and over and over and over again. That's what you do. Okay, fine. That's what you want to keep dealing with. Don't complain about it. Don't complain about it. Because nobody's taking you seriously, you keep going back to the situation. You've been exposed enough in this world. If you're grown, you've seen people in other relationships growing and prospering and everything else. You've seen people developing themselves educationally and career-wise. You're still stuck in the same dead-end job, making a little bit of money, and you're 13 years later, and you even look totally different than you did before you even got with this person. But you chose to be there. So don't sit there and say, oh, well, it's just so hard. No, you allow it to be hard. People, you have to understand, we have more power within ourselves than we give ourselves credit for. We have more control as to what's going on in our lives than we have credit for. But we are spending too much of our energy that we should focus on building ourselves on stuff that's really irrelevant. On people who don't matter. To situations that don't keep a roof over your head or keep food in your belly. To people who aren't even vested in your goals or your dream, who don't keep your bed warm at night, who don't give you a hug when you need it, and who don't wipe your tears. We're putting too much energy into things that are too far down on the totem pole. We're taking everything that's on the bottom and putting it up top, and that's the problem. And you're wondering why you're running around here emotionally out of bounds. Because you haven't gotten your priorities straight. There's a great big old world out here. I hear people say all the time, well, such and such and such and such, and I don't know about this, and I don't know about this. And you don't know because you don't want to know. How many people have you come across that said they wanted to start a business? Well, I don't know who to go to and blah, blah, blah. They have free business seminars all the time. And especially with the world situation, they got webinars. They got virtual meetings. They got YouTube videos. They've got Instagram feeds. They've got information all over the place. It's absolutely free. That's how come when I hear somebody say, they give you excuses as to why they don't want to get further their education, why they don't want to start a business and everything else. There is no excuse nowadays. None. Because money's not the issue. It's not. Not too long ago, there wasn't a way for you to get a degree online. 30 years ago, it wasn't happening, people. It wasn't happening not long ago. Once upon a time, if you wanted to start a business, you had to pay for a live seminar to go to. Now all it is the click of a mouse, or you can go on your cell phone, scroll on scroll on Google, and can get as much information as you want. It's up to you now. There are no excuses. So you wonder why nobody takes you seriously, because they know it's bullshit. The victim mentality is just too much. And most of the people that you're screaming victim to, they already know something's up. It's like, okay, well, if you're having this problem and you claim you can't get out of it, then how come this person who went through the same thing that you went through, they're able to get out of it? It's all about the mindset. We have to understand in life sometimes it's not going to be all peaches and cream. And there are times in our lives where it's going to be a hailstorm of problems. But it's up to us to decide how we're going to perceive those problems and how we're going to deal with them. And the first thing you need to do is when those hailstorms or problems come along, accept the fact that they are temporary. That's the number one thing you have to understand. They're temporary problems. Once you have it established in your mind that these situations are temporary, they won't seem as serious to you. And a lot of us are running around here treating temporary situations as permanent problems, and they're not. I'm going to go one better. A lot of us are running around with people who should be treated as temporary people, and we're giving them permanent positions in our lives. How about that? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go. Peace to you.